So what we'll do is I'll just introduce, and these guys will introduce themselves, and we'll go into audience and ask what's your perspective about accelerators, and then we'll go into a panel discussion around those questions, and then we'll have Q&A. It's a 30-minute session, so we'll keep everything short. Short answers, short questions, not going into too many details. We didn't want to do anyway. So what we've seen is that, last 2 years, accelerators have blown up. We started with 2 accelerators 2 years back when I started T-Labs, and now there are around 20 accelerators in different domains. But nobody's sure, even we are not sure what made that change and how the entire ecosystem blew up. Similarly, there are incubators as well and startup leadership programs. So it gets confusing for startups to know what an accelerator does versus what an incubator does versus what a startup leadership program does. So I've been asked a lot of questions that are outrightly very simple questions and complicated questions as well, where at some point in time I did not have answers to those. The simplest question was, would an accelerator provide me with the printers and pencils and pen and pad? And it was asked by a very well-known entrepreneur. 2 questions like, what should be my goal while in the accelerator program? That's the kind of questions which are very hard to answer. So we will probably bust some of those myths. We'll answer some of those questions, but please don't ask if we provide pencil, pens, and printers. We do, by the way. So let me go to Lalit and for a short introduction. Lalit.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon. My name is Lalit Ahuja, and I'm one of the co-founders of Chiron. We are supposedly the new kid on the block, so been around for a year and maybe accelerator number 20, as Abhishek was saying.
Ravi?
Hi. My name is Ravi Narayan. I'm with Microsoft Ventures. We have, as part of the Ventures fund, an accelerator and what we call as the BizSpark program. So I'm focused on the Microsoft Ventures Accelerator in Bangalore.
Right, and last I'm Abhishek. I head T-Labs. T-Labs is an accelerator out of Delhi, funded by Times Internet Limited. It's a part of Times corporate accelerator, and so far I've done 23 companies in the last 4 batches. All right, let's go to the audience and see if you have any questions that you want to focus on. Guys, anybody interested in accelerator, or should we just end the session right now? Any questions that you have?
There's one question back there.
Hi, my name is Shankar from Cloud Kinetics. We got into a strategic investment 6 months ago, and one of the discussion that we should get into that was that there will be an accelerator program for us. We're still going through the process. Would be interesting for us to put it across to them as to what they really meant when they said that they will put us through the accelerator mode.
Okay, so you are already in an accelerator program.
Right. I mean, not really. That was supposed to be part of the package.
All right, so you want to understand what is
How
the
it is
process
going to
run
work.
an accelerator program. Great. Anybody else? Sure. Can we have the mic here, 3rd row?
Startup, and I would like to know how to join and how would we benefit in terms of technology support or hiring or mentorship, or what would an accelerator provide to a startup?
So what we look in an accelerator, what we look in startups, and what is the goals that it should set, and what are the help that is provided by the accelerator program. Right. Person next to you.
Hi, I'm Anuj Pandey, and I'm thinking of starting up my own company, almost about to launch the product without the accelerator. But just want to understand the initial phase when we talk about accelerators is more about guidance than anything else, right? If I'm correct. Is this guidance more towards also from a perspective of getting connects for customers, or getting a first initial set of customers that was really helpful for picking up the business?
Okay, got it. So the question is more around, what the guidance is for, accelerators, what do they provide, what is more focus on, and yeah, we will answer those questions in the panel discussion. So.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yeah, my name is Anurag, so I'm from Traders Corporate. So I would like to know at what stage does a startup outgrow the requirement of accelerator?
Okay. Very good question. We are still struggling to answer that. All right. So what we'll do is we'll start away with gentleman's question. Sorry, Vijay. Vijay's question of what do you guys look for in a startup while they join? What would they want to join an accelerator? Lalit.
Okay. So I think in some ways the process of acceleration is a two-way street. Given the fact that it's very short-term, 4 months, we're looking at obviously high potential startups, a stellar team, an idea that will go out and succeed. But more important, our ability to develop those quick connects with the startups. So you can influence certain business outcomes, whether it's getting customers or a successful go-to-market strategy or funding. So it's important that you have startups with the ability that are resilient, that would be amenable to the process of being accelerated.
So Ravi, what would you look in a startup?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to what Lalit said. So the first thing that we look at is a team. If the team is good, is a highly committed, highly capable team, and they are going after a very interesting problem, large problem, interesting problem. These are things that we feel, it's meant to be accelerated, right? And what we also look for, and this may be kind of answering some of the other questions as well, is that this company has actually got a few customers that are already interested in working with them. Now this is not to say that the stage is late stage or mid stage or whatever. It's more about our ability to put the right resources behind. So we know that if they are talking to certain set of customers, if we at Microsoft can also give you a whole bunch of those guys, then obviously you will accelerate a lot faster. So that gives us a feel for our ability to understand the market, our ability to give you access to customers, and therefore also the ability to help you execute on that plan that you just embarked on. So in a way, we kind of look for those kinds of things so that then we can throw our weight behind it.
Right. So, but why would a large market matter to you? You are a paperless accelerator. You don't take equity. So why would the startups that are coming in should focus on a large market? Because you are directly not going to be benefited by them going after a large market.
Well, we may not be directly benefited, economically benefited, but the very reason we are doing this is to actually make a large impact. So whether I do a very early stage startup or I do a late stage startup, if I'm able to not late stage but something a little further along, the ability for us to accelerate is quite high actually. So and I'm going to put in the same number of resources into it. I spend that much time, I have so many people working with them and so on and so forth. So if I have the ability to create a large impact, then I would take those ones on, because I feel even if I don't get any equity out of it, but the very fact that I'm able to demonstrate to people that I am able to take a company and make them have 10 times the revenue in 4 months, I mean that's very impactful.
Okay, fair enough. So that gets to our next set of questions. After you have selected a startup and and when they come into the program, from first day till the last day they pass out in a demo day, what would you guys help with the program? You said 10 times the revenue. How many startups of yours have gone to 10 times the revenue in the 4 months? It's a 4 month program for you, right? 4 months program.
Yeah, so this is a new role for me. I've been doing this for the last 3 months. So
historical data maybe.
I'm sorry?
Historical data maybe.
Yeah, so historically, one of the things that we all used to pride upon is that we had about 85% of the companies funded by other investors, and 20% of them were VCs for Series A and so on and so forth. So a lot of entrepreneurs took offense to that, and they said, why don't you start measuring your revenue growth? And that's something that's more interesting for us, because you keep saying that if you get the revenue growth, the investors will come anyway. So why don't you just measure that? So that's what we started doing recently with this batch. So we have about 13 companies, of which I think close to about 7 or 8 of them have, accelerated their revenues, and most of them are above 5 times what we have seen when they came in. Some of them had zero, so with zero as a denominator, I think it's a lot more.
So, all right, I'll go into the next question quickly because we are running out of time. It's already 50% of the session is over, by the way, guys. So, what value add does an accelerator do? It's a follow-up of the same question. So, what is the value add that you do?
I think, the approach that we use is we baseline an accelerator, identify their gaps in relation to where they are on technology or design, or specific aspects of business. For example, a go-to-market strategy or customer traction, and more important, of course, the kind of funding they would need post accelerator. So what we really try and do is influence some of those outcomes. Help them work on these gaps so that.
So do you connect them to customers if they want,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we think as an accelerator, you got to be fairly boundaryless. There's no one size fit all. Each company is different. Their requirements are different. Sometimes you have companies coming with a very mature MVP or just an idea, right? So the issues and the problems that you're addressing could be very, very different. And what we try and do is define what a company should be at the end of the acceleration period, and then we measure week on week on how they're progressing, and based on that keep tweaking the interventions.
So Ravi, a follow-up question to that is, how should these entrepreneurs and startups, when they come into an accelerator program, let's say they come with an MVP, right? And you're saying that we'll connect you to customers and help you shape that MVP into a good product so that customers come on. What kind of goals should they set up for an accelerator program so that they achieve those goals in 4 months?
See, a lot of times when people come into the accelerator, they actually are people that we feel are capable of thinking big. But when we start negotiating with them or talking to them about what is it that you would like to accomplish in 4 months, so it's not us telling them what they should do. They are the ones they should, tell us what they would like to accomplish, because now we have potentially a lot of resources on the technology side, customer access, and access to the investors. So a lot of things can now be done, and also we are taking away all these the problems of space and various other things. Now, what is it that you really can, go for? And a lot of times people just kind of do an incremental growth of what they had done in the last 4 months, and they try to do the same thing in 4 months. And we say that's not good enough. Is there something that you can do much more? And that's when they start going through a process of, what if I can do this, and that's when they come up with, very measurable goals that they can go after, some tangible outcomes that they can go after. And then we, after about a week's discussion with them, we kind of lock that in. And then we take that as our goal, and so does the startup. And we both start working towards that. And like Lalit said, we also measure them week by week to see, where the delta is and what do we need to do to fix the delta.
Yeah. So adding to that, we follow a similar process in T-Labs. What we do, in the first 2 weeks, we build a dashboard from the hypothesis that are derived from their MVP, and we follow through that dashboard week over week, see the progress of that dashboard. And those are just experiments. Those hypotheses are what you're thinking about the market, and what is your feel factor. And once we turn it into experiments, you experiment and you get data, and you see where your progress is, whether it's a fail or a pass. If it's fail, and that we tell our startups fail fast, you move on to the next experiment and do that experiment. So now large companies say strategy. For me, strategy is experiment that worked. So we say, experiment to strategy. And if in 4 months you figure out the experiment that is working, that is getting you customers and revenue, then that is your strategy. Stick with it and make it happen. So we are almost running out of time. It's 9 minutes, and I wanted to get one feeler from our audience. Has anybody gone through an acceleration program here? You have. Which acceleration programs? Microsoft. All right. So can you tell us in 1 minute short? I'm so sorry, time is not. I don't have enough time. What was 4 months like, and if you can compare it to maybe not getting accelerated?
Okay, so I actually tried my own startup alone, so I can really give the difference. So the energy in the room is like, uncomparable. Like, I was in Microsoft Accelerator first batch, right? There were 8 other startups. So I think the energy was the important thing that I got. And then the next thing was, access to advisors, right? Being alone inside your home, there's no way. I think these are the 2 things that I actually carried.
Yeah, so that's very correct. What I see, and I totally agree with him, is that the energy is so awesome on the floor when 10 companies or 13 companies are working, and they help each other in a lot of fashions, in technology, in customer acquisition, in understanding. So we do a Monday meetup of all startups, where they come and tell what they learned in the last week and what they will do in the next week. And somehow we figured out that that is actually the pivoting point for everyone. So for people who are laggards, who are not working out, right, they are seeing somebody getting $1,000 check, they are like, I have to do something. And for people who, crack a customer, they will just come out and say, how did you crack a customer? And they tell about their story. So let's go to questions since we don't have a lot of time. Yes.
I had a very
Who is this question to?
to the panel in general.
Okay.
Now, I am part of a technology startup which is in the wholesale banking risk management space. Now, typically there are certain businesses where the gestation period in order to onboard a client is typically longer. And there are other businesses where the gestation period is much shorter. So how does an accelerator differentiate? Do you actually differentiate between companies who have a longer conversion life cycle, or how does it work?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because I've seen that, sometimes the conversion cycles of a customer is very, very long. And sometimes even the technology is so complicated that 4 months are not enough. Now, how do you judge that company, or would you extend the accelerator program to 8 months for that company? I think Microsoft has done similar with one company in the first batch, right?
Yeah, so we actually got got them to stay for the next batch as well, because they were taking a little longer. But that's more of an exception than a rule. What I look at is the acceleration program is a very high contact, high energy kind of a discussion that we create within the entrepreneur's mind. And if they are able to think in a different way and go about selling their products in a different way, I think the DNA is established in a certain way. Now, beyond that, because they are alumni of the accelerator, they still have complete access to the resources that I have in my accelerator. So to come back and ask for more customers or ask for help with closing a customer that they already embarked on when they were in the accelerator, we continue to work with them on that. But it's not for this for that purpose of finishing everything within 4 months. Is why we are engaging with them. We want to kind of establish a relationship, and those 4 months are our the real hard courtship with them.
Let's go to another question. I saw in hand. Yeah. Go ahead, ask the question.
Stake does the accelerator take, and in terms of, say, the founder can take a salary, or what do you look for in terms of
What
benefits?
was the first part? What kind of stake?
Yeah, what kind of stake do you take in the company? And say post the acceleration program, would that stake continue, and benefits for actually getting that stake? And in terms of, say, the comfort to the founder, I mean, many of them may be first-time founders. Would you let them take a salary, or what's the money that normally gets into the company as well?
The answer is different for different accelerators, so I'll probably 30 seconds each answer. We value each company at 1%, 1 CR, and take 10% stake. And we allow founders to take salary, which is 25,000. But we have not so far. What we have seen, 100% of the accelerator, none of the founders have taken salary for 4 months. Lalit.
Yeah. We do the same. We take 10%, and of course, fund the companies with $10,000. But I just want to make an important clarification. Accelerators are not about funding. This whole issue about stake is putting a skin in the game. It creates an incentive on both sides. You're losing stake, and accelerator is gaining stake. So you're going to work hard to make something out of that stake. So that's the whole rationale. But so I think it varies by the stage of the company.
You're saying that Ravi's skin is not in the game.
It's not my skin. It's
It's a
something else in
different,
the game.
yeah, it's a different kind of a skin. That's
Well, it is a different kind of a skin. I totally agree
So we
with that.
take
We are not
0% stake in the companies. We don't take any stake. But to augment that, we also have a fund that comes in later. So for us, in a way, the acceleration program is like our due diligence program. We get to understand you, you get to understand us, and then we come in with the capital.
and do the founders, so in your case it doesn't matter, but do the founders take salary?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's meant for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So most accelerators is for the lifestyle of the founders, and accelerators who fund a little larger amount, you can spend it in distribution, marketing, etc. as well, in your business as well. That's what I mean. There was another question at the back of the room.
What we have already a customer and we are working on it. We are working with the customer and we have already a revenue model, but still we need an accelerator. We think like we need an accelerator to give the best to the customer.
And why do you think that?
In terms of technology, in terms of getting them the best technology, like the best product we develop for them.
So do you guys help with technology? I know Microsoft does. Lalit, do you help with technology?
Yes, we do technology and design both. Yeah.
So yes, you will get technology and design help in most of the accelerators. Yeah, just sure. How do you define success? IPO? No. $1 million, $1 billion company? No. But a company that is, yeah. So our best success story is DataWeave. You can meet the founders outside. It's a big data company. They have been funded, follow-on funded by Bloom and Rajan Anandan, and they've been so far doing very well in terms of revenue, but they're not $1 billion yet. I hope they will, and they will make an IPO. So I will get an exit as well. Lalit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still too early for us. We are in a second cohort. But I would say every company that has come out has been a successful company. We have seen very visible differences in the team and the MVP and the customer traction and revenues. So very clearly the model works, and I mean, the verdict is not out as yet, but I wouldn't differentiate, and I would say everyone's benefited from the interventions we provided to them.
Yeah.
So we have a two-stage kind of an acceleration thing. So we have something called an accelerator program where companies that are with an MVP, a couple of customers come in and they get accelerated. So in that we have a company in the current batch, for example, called Tommy Jams, which came in, did a lot of work on the ground, nothing online. Online was just a website. Now they have created an entirely new business model using the website to accelerate their growth. Within the current model, they have grown about 10 times that they have come in. In the Accelerator Plus model, we have a company that came in with already about 10-15 lakhs a month kind of a billing, and but at the same time there was lots of holes in the way they were going about building their company. So we have filled a lot of those holes in the last 3 months, and we will continue to do so. But the good news there is they have kind of pivoted into a completely new market. So this is the interesting part. So they already had a certain business model, they had a certain revenue run rate, yet they pivoted into a completely different thing because of the fact that we intervened and worked with them.
So it's very hard to answer your question right now because most of the accelerators in India are new. It's not like Y Combinator where there is an Airbnb to look at, but we hope in the next 2 years, and we are working towards that there will be multiple Airbnbs coming out of the accelerators in India. One question, last question.
How do we be part of the accelerator program? Is what I want to know.
Okay, so most accelerator programs run an application online. We can follow them, they tweet it out through different medias. They will promote their applications. You fill the application, and then there will be a sort of filter process where you would call in for an interview, or they would meet you somewhere, and after a couple of probably discussions, it's a selection, right? Is it any different?
Yeah, and the only thing I want to add is, you get thousands of applications, so it's pretty much like applying for an MBA. Select the right accelerators, make sure you are well prepared, do it in good time because you really don't wait for a particular period to start selecting. You review the applications as they come along.
Yeah, so we have opened our application for the fourth batch that's starting out in January. So the closes on November 15th. So that is one of the very broad approaches that we have where you come in online and apply to Microsoft Ventures. But outside of that, we also encourage people that if you've already done a lot of work and you know people who are in the ecosystem like investors, like mentors and so on and so forth, to have them refer you to us. That makes a huge amount of difference. So it's an MBA program. We do the CAT, but outside of the CAT, the professors will also we'll talk to the professors and find out if they already know you.
Yeah, that's very true. So referrals work greatest for us. So if you've been referred by one of the angels or one of the mentors, we'll look at that application with much more seriousness. Not that we don't look at all the applications, we dig up all the applications and go through that, and we make sure that we meet the candidates, who come out of the filter. Yeah. So does that answer your question?
Within which you need to look at selection. So if it's a completely new venture that you're getting into, there's no customers at the moment, and an idea is good enough.
So not an idea, but most people will look at you from an MVP perspective. You should have a product. May or may not.
So you have the product which is there.
Yeah.
But you've not gone into the market at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. That's mostly fine for everybody.
Yeah, we've even admitted PowerPoint companies.
No time for answer to that. Yeah. So sorry, your time is up, and it was a great session. No, not us, not T-Labs, but they may.
Exceptions, but you got to promise that you'll get somebody in your team pretty soon. So it's a condition. Yeah.
So we're still available for any more questions. I'm available at abhishek@tlabs.in.
Lalit.ahuja@kaizen.me.
Ravi.narayan@microsoft.com.
Thank you, and it was great having you guys. Thanks, Lalit.